Every day, you make decisions: what to buy, who to trust, what to believe. But here's the real question: are those decisions really yours, or are they designed? This channel breaks down the psychology behind everything. I'm Shrest, and this is where we decode the world.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're not just looking at some standard fintech startup. We are decoding a masterclass in behavioral engineering, a system explicitly designed for the financial elite. We're going to examine how an app called CRED totally bypassed traditional finance to operate more like a digital psychologist. We're talking about pulling the deep psychological levers of exclusivity, identity, and straight-up status addiction. So ask yourself, what if your financial responsibility was literally just the entry fee to a digital casino? Think about it. For decades, paying your credit card bill was just a chore, right? A boring, stressful, pure utility. But what happens when an app manages to weaponize that exact chore, turning it into a psychologically addictive, high-stakes game? To really understand how debt became, well, seductive, we need to peel back the layers. Let's start with layer 1, monetizing the disciplined identity. You see, for the longest time, there was this massive psychological void in the financial sector. Think about how the traditional system has historically operated. It was essentially built to ignore the reliable, responsible payers. There was absolutely zero status and definitely zero joy in simply paying your dues on time. Notice the stark contrast here in behavioral targeting. Traditional banks, they monetize failure. They profit off late fees, punishing interest rates, the honest mistakes of their users. But CRED, they totally flipped the script. They decided to monetize your disciplined identity. Their founder, Kunal Shah, recognized this huge psychological gap. He realized the most responsible consumers were being treated like the most boring customers. So he built a VIP lounge exclusively for the financially trustworthy. The entire core of this manipulation is summarized perfectly in Kunal Shah's own thesis. Profits come from desire, not need. While other startups were out there bleeding cash, fighting tooth and nail over price-sensitive users, this system understood something fundamentally deeper. Solving for status and identity is infinitely more valuable than solving for pure utility. Need gets you a transaction, sure, but desire gets you an obsession. Which brings us to layer 2. The velvet rope psychology. This is exactly where the platform manufactured that intense desire by erecting a strict digital barrier. You can't just go to the App Store, download this app, and start playing. No. You have to be allowed inside. 750. That is the minimum credit score required to even get your foot in the door. In a country of 1.4 billion people, this single, ruthless metric excluded the vast majority of the population. And from a behavioral standpoint, this act of exclusion is absolutely brilliant. By locking the doors, this app was instantly transformed into an elite status symbol. The filter itself literally became the product. And the resulting identity shift here is profound. Suddenly, you're no longer just a user, you are a member. Getting past that digital velvet rope provides this immediate, intoxicating rush of social validation. It takes this cold, boring, mathematical credit score and turns it into a shiny digital badge of honor. The system is flattering you. It's whispering to you, you're elite. You are disciplined. But to keep you hooked, the system employs what we can call emotional camouflage. Think about that minimalist design, drenched in black and gold. That's no accident. That is the universal aesthetic of the high-end casino and the luxury lounge. They use culturally viral marketing to signal that their brand is sophisticated, it's insider. They offer curated luxury experiences, not just your generic, boring cashback. All of this camouflage works together to completely redefine debt. It changes it from a private burden into a highly aspirational lifestyle. Now let's look at layer 3, a casino in your pocket. Because this is where we decode the deeply unsettling core of the entire system. Once that velvet rope lets you in, the gamification mechanics completely take over. And these are meticulously designed to hijack your brain's reward centers. Let's clinically define the actual engine running this casino. It's called the variable reward schedule. This is a psychological mechanism where rewards are given unpredictably, which causes massive, unexpected spikes in dopamine. It is the exact same behavioral conditioning used in slot machines. When you pay a bill in this app, you don't just get a flat, predictable reward. You get coins, you physically swipe to spin a wheel, and you might win a coffee, a jackpot, or absolutely nothing. The unpredictability, that's the hook. We can literally map this out as a relentless, rhythmic dopamine ritual. Step 1, pay your debt. Step 2, spin the digital wheel. Step 3, receive a variable reward. Step 4, enter the anticipation loop, waiting for the next hit. Through this ritual, your entire motivation completely shifts. You're no longer thinking about financial responsibility. You are completely absorbed in compulsive gameplay. But here's the thing, a slot machine is only profitable if you keep pulling the lever. To guarantee this, the system weaponizes loss aversion. That's your brain's deep-seated, natural fear of missing out on expiring daily jackpots. The result is compulsive daily engagement. You stop logging in once a month just to pay a bill. Instead, you start logging in every single day just to play. Your real-world debt is now merely the price of admission to keep spinning that wheel. Moving on to layer 4, the invisible lending machine. For years, financial observers watched this company burn through billions of dollars on marketing and rewards, just scratching their heads, wondering how this digital casino could possibly ever be profitable. Well, let's solve that mystery. Those ecosystem hooks you see, the e-commerce store, the travel portal, the rent payments, sure, they generate some small commissions, but they're largely a decoy. The true harvest is the real endgame, CRED Cash, CRED Garage, and the mass monetization of your trust data. You see, this app wasn't built to make a few cents off your bill payments. It was built to gather the highest trust, highest net worth individuals into one giant captive audience, and then systematically sell them highly profitable, pre-approved loans. And this behavioral conditioning, it translates directly into hard numbers. By 2025, their operating revenue jumped to over 2,700 crore rupees, while their operating losses were slashed by an impressive 51%. The machine is working exactly as designed. That massive initial cash burn we all saw, that was just the customer acquisition cost, the price paid to capture a perfectly curated, low-risk, highly creditworthy population that traditional banks can only dream of. Now, market gravity did eventually catch up to the initial hype, correcting their 2025 valuation down to $3.5 billion from a previous peak. But make no mistake, while the valuation dropped, the underlying behavioral engine remains an incredibly potent force. They successfully proved that human trust and human desire can absolutely be engineered into a multi-billion-dollar asset. Which brings us to our final stop, layer 5, the digital caste system. Because when you build a closed financial loop purely for the elite, there is a chilling societal endgame that we have to step back and observe. Here is the unsettling reality of it all. First, it actively widens the gap between the credit rich and the credit poor, pulling all the best perks and the cheapest loans exclusively behind that velvet rope. But psychologically, it does something much, much more dangerous. It normalizes an emotional attachment to debt cycles. It trains consumers to actually enjoy the cycle of spending, just to trigger the next dopamine hit. It takes trustworthy behavior and rewards it not with financial freedom, but with deeper, gamified financial lock-in. So I want to leave you with this one provocative thought. As modern finance increasingly adopts these digital psychology playbooks, completely blurring the lines between a basic utility and a flashy casino, you have to ask yourself, the next time you spin a wheel after making a payment, are you managing your debt or is the system managing you? Thanks for joining us on this explainer. Keep questioning the loops you're caught in.